Good Sunday night, everybody. Welcome to the Steelers Game Day Postgame. So I'm Mason Sapesky, your host, here with you tonight. First off, before we get into the game, just a couple quick things. Obviously, I just want to say now that I'm saying this before all of my videos now because last week, hang on a minute. Sorry about that, but last week, a lot of my videos got backed up, like my Steelers Game Day Postgame. So from last week's game against Houston, on my Mondays with Mason, my recaps, just a lot of other stuff got all backed up because I accidentally didn't have my Wi-Fi on because the Wi-Fi here is, where I'm at now, is not the best. And sometimes, like, when I go to bed, I like to lay in my bed and just read stuff on my phone before I go. And I am a very impatient human being. If you all didn't already know that, I'll just be open with you. I'm very impatient. And I like to get my Wi-Fi fast. And the Wi-Fi here is not the fastest. It's rather slow, to be honest. But anyway, I turned my Wi-Fi off, and I guess that stopped the upload. So I had to go back in and turn the Wi-Fi on, re-upload everything. Sorry to burp. Sorry, that process yesterday. That process is now done and over with. But those videos are posting over time. We're going to have a little bit of a backup here probably until tomorrow. Hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday gets solved, but if not, I'm sorry. If not by then, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry this is continuing, but my point being is this video is going to be out late. Same with the pregame, and I'm sorry about that. I'll do better next week, or 2 weeks because it's bye next week for sure. But anyway, now let's get into this game. Wow, what a win for our Steelers! The Pittsburgh Steelers today hosted the Baltimore Ravens at Acrisure Stadium, and they walked out of Acrisure Stadium with a 17-10 victory over the Ravens. I was so happy to be at this game today. I brought some of my friends to the game. It was awesome. We all had an awesome time. Friends and family came. So yeah, very enjoyable. That's for sure. But anyway, though, now let's get into this game. Sally, because obviously being with them, I almost watched every single play, obviously, because, yeah. So some games that, like, here's what, like, when it's just my dad and I, which is typical when we're up in our section together, because we have season tickets, so it's typical just my dad and I go. So a lot of times I'm on my phone checking fantasy or tweeting or Instagramming or whatever you want to call social media crap. But anyway, though, so yeah, 100%, but I got to watch more of the game today, which was good, rather than do that. I still did that, but wasn't as bad. The Wi-Fi, though, it's no surprise, but the Wi-Fi there stinks, obviously, because a million people are on their phones, so yeah, for sure. If you want to follow it, my Twitter account where I do all my sports stuff and just give my sports takes, it's capital M, my last name, which is capital S as in Sam, E as in Edward, P as in Paul, E as in Edward, S as in Sam, K as in Kennedy, and Y as in Yak. So if you got it right, it's M capital, S capital, and then Sapesky, M Sapesky. And it should show a picture of Kenny Pickett in the profile. It says my name, Mason, and then there's a lightning bolt to the side of it. So that's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me on Twitter. The Instagram I used to do my Steelers stuff, it definitely needs some work. It's not the best right now. It was a spam account. Like, when I was in middle school, those spam accounts were so popular. Or backup accounts, spam accounts, whatever you want to call them. They were so popular when I was a 7th grader, way back in junior high. And I just used it for a million different things. I used it once for sports, Pirates, and now we're on the Steelers. But point being is it's not a very popular fan page because of its lack of use and all that. So I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could give that one a follow. It's Steelers Nation 412, and it's just a bunch of the guys. The profile picture is just the team after touchdown celebration and their color rushes. So if you could follow that, that would also be great. I post a lot. Sorry, I wanted to move my camera closer to me, but I post live takes and stuff during the game. So yeah, definitely, that's for sure. I highly recommend you follow both of those if you want more of what you see here. If you love this, just definitely follow them for sure. I'm not going to give you my personal ones, though. No, I'm not going to give those out. I'm sorry, but Yeah, definitely those ones. You could probably find them, though, anyway, but whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, though, now let's recap this football game, Selly, because that's why we're here. It's a Steelers postgame, so not just a Mason talks about his life. So, but anyway, the game started out rather bad. The Steelers were very predictable on offense at the beginning, but later in the game they weren't. And I will address what you're all thinking about and you all want to hear my opinion on at the very end. But Ravens started out strong. They got a touchdown, and they looked good. They looked, Justice Hill, I think it was, got the touchdown. They looked really good early. And then they got a field goal as well. They made it 10-0 pretty early. And then, guess what? Chris Boswell got a field goal. It's 10-3. That means both kickers got a field goal. That means my first prop of the year is right. So give me a round of applause, too. It was a great day for me in that regard. So I'm 1-4 now with the props, 2-3 with my Steeler predictions. So not very good, but still above ground. So, glad to get winning the props column for sure. Obviously, week 1 it wasn't pretty. Joey Porter Jr. My week 1 prediction was Joey Porter Jr. would pick off Brock Purdy. We'll get into his interception from today later, but there was an intercept. While there may have been an interception today, there was not one week 1. That set me to 0-1. Second week, I predicted Najee would get a score. He didn't get a score like he hasn't all year, so set me to 0-2. We'll get into him too later in the show. Week 3, predicted Pickens would get 100 yards receiving. Got 75. 0-3, it's all fair. In week 4, I predicted TJ would sack CJ Stroud twice, at least. Didn't work out, so I think these props are somewhat manageable, but today was arguably the most, and it worked out, so I'm thankful for that. But anyway, it's 10-3 now, I think it was 10-3 at the half, yeah. Then the third quarter was kind of dry, and then the weirdest thing happened. The fourth quarter was our quarter. We held Baltimore after Renegade played to 3-and-out. Then we blocked a punt. It went back into the end zone. It was so close to being a touchdown. It wasn't a touchdown. It was a safety because he barely got the feet down. It was something horribly goofy and weird with the footing, that's for sure. And as a result, it was 10-5. We got the ball back. I think we got a field goal on that drive to make it 10-8. Then Baltimore the fourth quarter was wild, to say the least. Then Baltimore gave the ball right back to us. They went, I think, 3-and-out, or they went for down, and they punted away. Gunnar Olszewski muffed it. Baltimore got the ball back on their 15-yard line. 3rd and goal. Lamar throws an interception to Joey Porter Jr. This man needs to be a starting cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He needs to be a starting cornerback, and he needs to be a starting cornerback in 2 weeks. No doubt about that. Give the man credit. He's doing great. Broderick's doing great. Omar Khan nailed this draft. Look at Broderick today, how good he did. Look at JPJ today, how good he did. Keanu Benz already showing signs of being good. Darnell, they don't use him nearly enough. They barely even freaking use him, and that's so disappointing. But he's doing good things, I think, and he has a high potential. Very good pick by Omar. And my cousin's Andy Casey. Nick Herbig. Never a very good pick. Sucks that we're not seeing Corey Trice at all, because he'd be balling out. So I miss him. I miss him a lot out on that field. And then Spencer Anderson Jr., he's a 7th round pick, so you're not going to see him a lot, but it's okay. It's a 7th round pick. I doubt many teams other than San Francisco and Ronnie Bell are playing 7th round picks. So that one, you can't sweat the small stuff with something like that. But anyway, though, back to it now. Steelers get the ball back. Pickens, the ball's at the 50. There's like a minute 14 left. Or no, there's like a minute 45 left, something like that. Pickett throws a beautiful pass. Pickens catches it, takes it right in for the touchdown. It's 14-10. Like with a minute 35 left, we get the ball back. They fumble. TJ gets it. It's 14-10. We're taking knees at this point. Not like the Miami Hurricanes. That was a fiasco last night. That game against Georgia Tech that they lost. So yeah, that's definitely crazy, but we're taking knees this time. And then we kicked the field goal to make it 17-10. Then the defense finished the job off, and we won the game 17-10. We're 3-2. First place in the NFC North, going into the bye week. Feels good. Feels very good. I will share my thoughts now in regards to a couple things. And then after I share my thoughts and just a couple quick things, because I'm sorry I'll get sidetracked somewhere because I'm the best at that. But after that, we'll get into previewing next week, the game in 2 weeks, and then call it a so. So, yeah, for sure. Anyway, my thoughts, though. Thought number one I had, Matt Canada should absolutely be ashamed of himself. And now it's time where I address that video. The Pickens touchdown. And I'm sure you saw this now on Twitter. I've seen it on Twitter, so yeah. On the Pickens touchdown, they showed Canada in the press box. Everyone in the press box is jumping for joy like they just won the lottery. Matt Canada is sitting in the press box. No emotions. No pride. No nothing. He just stares there, and it's almost like the look that he gives when his own receiver caught the game-winning touchdown. He gives a look almost like his girlfriend of 10 years just called him and broke up with him. Like, seriously, that's pathetic. This offensive coordinator, not only is he incompetent, he has ruined our tradition and our standard. Mike Tomlin, and one of my friends wore the shirt today at the game, Mike Tomlin is known for saying, the standard is the standard. This offensive coordinator that we have right now has never been the standard. I don't know who hired this guy, who had an interest in this guy. He did a good look. He did a good job at Maryland when Jordan McNair unfortunately passed. He took over as the interim head coach there, and he did a phenomenal job. He almost had them bowl eligible. And he almost had them bowl eligible. Almost beat Ohio State. He lost, though, the last game of the year to Penn State, and Penn State wasn't very good that year. That was actually a down year for Penn State. I believe it or not, saw Matt Canada as a college football head coach at the University of Maryland when they played against Penn State. And I will never forget this day. Here's why. I was just saying, I'm sorry. Canada was the head coach of Maryland. They were fighting for bowl eligibility. Penn State was nothing that year. They lost to Ohio State. They got sucked by Michigan State. And it was just a bad year. I don't know if you guys know this. I think I've said this multiple times. But before I decided to go to Pitt, I actually grew up a Penn Stater. My dad went to Penn State. So my whole life until I decided I want to go to Pitt was Penn State, Penn State, Penn State. So one thing my dad and I do is, and we still do this, is go up to one Penn State football game a year. 2018, when Matt Canada was the head coach of Maryland, we went up for that game. I never remember Maryland's offense looking bad. Put it this way. The Maryland football offense, led by head interim head coach, offensive-minded Matt Canada put up 51 points against the Ohio State University Buckeyes. Now, that was my 8th grade year, so obviously I don't remember off by heart who made the college football playoff. I can look it up. I can see how good Ohio State was. But considering that Penn State put up 26 points against the Buckeyes, and Matt Canada's offense put up 51 points, and this is what we get here in Pittsburgh out of Matt Canada, is absolutely atrocious. Why can't this guy do what he did in Maryland with Pittsburgh Steelers? I was so happy when we hired Matt Canada as our quarterbacks coach. I thought it was the best hire ever. However, I'm just getting ready to get this up for my computer so we could read you some things. But I was so ticked when he was promoted to OC. Why do we need to... And I get you take care of your own. I take care of my own too. I'm not trying to get political here, but one of my favorite lines in the new Jason Aldean song, Try That a Small Town, is, "Round here we take care of our own." I always think of my one friend when I hear that, because it reminds me how important it is to take care of your own. And I get that Art Rooney, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan like taking care of their own. That is a good thing. That is what a true, good, quality friend does. And don't get me wrong, I am not picking on anybody here, but there are some people I know that are terrible friends, terrible boyfriends, terrible girlfriends, that all they do is talk about their friends or their significant other horribly. So don't get me wrong, it's good to have friends and leaders that take care of their own. However, this is a little too far. I mean, this offensive coordinator is incompetent, if you haven't realized that. What confuses me, too, is how does Pitt score 42 free points and defeat the national champion Clemson in their building, led by Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson lost to Pitt. The offense put up 43 points for Pitt. Who was the offensive coordinator? Matt Canada. My first ever Pitt game. It was, hang on, let me think. November 26, 2016. And you probably are like, Mason, how did you calculate that so fast? That's insane. Well, here's how I calculate dates fast. The calendar was 2016. 2022 is the same calendar. For example, Christmas fell on a Sunday in 2016. Christmas fell on a Sunday in 2022. And November 26th was a Saturday in 2022, and it was the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And that's how I remember the Pitt one for that situation. So that's how I calculate dates so fast. But anyway, though, we have let's look at this Maryland 2018 offense. I want to see how many points they put up, because I am interested in this. All right, let's read some of these. Maryland was 5-7 that year. 23rd ranked Texas. Maryland upset them with 34 points on offense. Bowling Green, 45 points. And remember, this is Matt Canada. This is the guy who was the genius behind these play calls in Maryland, who is now our offensive coordinator and play caller for the Steelers offense that can do nothing except for Kenny Pickett. Temple, they lost. They only scored 14 points. Minnesota, they won. They scored 42 points. Michigan at home, 21 points. That's very good, Matt Canada. Rutgers, 34 points. You go to Iowa City to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes? Not surprised when Matt Canada got shut out. Funny saying that. Illinois, 63 points. Wow. Michigan State, 3 points. Typical Matt Canada. Indiana, 32 points. Ohio State, 51 points. And then Penn State, only 3 points. Point being is, Ohio, I'm going to look up Ohio State and I'll see how they did that year. But anyway, before I read that, the point being is, how does Matt Canada put up all these points in college and have all these good play calls in college, but in the pros, he can't do it? That is just bad. And who knows if Tomlin has a say in this, but bottom line is this: Matt Canada is not a competent NFL offensive coordinator. He should not be the Steelers' offensive coordinator. End of story. Second point being is, well, I just read this about Ohio State. Second point being is, trade Najee Harris now. I like the guy a lot, but now is when you need to trade him. The trade deadline's in 3 weeks. Remember what Omar Khan did with Chase Claypool. Dealt him to Chicago. And look where Chase Claypool is now, Miami. Now is the perfect time to trade Chase Claypool to a running back needy team. You could get a third rounder for Chase. Or, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Chase Claypool, I meant Najee. That you could trade him for a second, third round pick that could be used elsewhere. For sure. And we're going to pull up now who needs running backs. But anyway, point being is, I like Najee, but it's Jalen's time here. He's tougher, he has more grit, and he's the better player. This kid needs to be RB1, and RB1 now. Wouldn't it be nice if we could trade Najee to Miami for Devon Akane? I ranked the kid 12th overall in my draft rankings. Wasn't picked till 84th. Maybe we can trade Najee for Devon Akane. Who's with me? Who would want to see that trade? It's not going to happen. I think, as I peruse these teams, I think the only team that could really want him is Tampa Bay. I can see him being traded to Tampa. Or the Rams. But probably not the Rams. But really, Tampa's the only team that realistically makes sense to trade Najee to. So yeah, that's for sure. I think you should trade Najee while you could get something for him. That's just my take. Other than that, though, I mean, the defense wasn't great today early on. They looked worn out, but they got the job done when they needed to. So I'm happy for them. They did great at the end. And second half defense, that's what matters. Special teams was really good today, I thought. O-line needs to be better. Hopefully Kenny can get better. Hopefully Kenny can work on seeing the field better these next 2 weeks. So, yeah. All in all, though, a win is a win. And as I read this, this is the Ohio State football right now. And again, this is back to the whole Matt Canada debate because this is what's taken Pittsburgh by storm. So remember, Matt Canada's offense put up 51 points against Ohio State in 2018. Let's look at what other offenses did against them. 31 points from Oregon State, 3 points from Rutgers, 28 points from TCU, 6 points from Tulane, 26 points from Penn State, 26 points from Indiana, 14 points from Minnesota, 49 points from Purdue in a loss, 31 points from Nebraska, 6 points from Michigan State, 51 points from Maryland, 39 points from Michigan, 24 points from Northwestern, 23 points from Ohio State. Or Washington University. Matt Canada's offense put up the most points against that 13-1 Buckeyes team that should have been in the playoffs. Where is that Matt Canada, and why are we not getting it? If we got... I'm sorry, my phone fell off the charger of the stand. If we got that same Matt Canada, this team is easily 4-1, possibly even 5-0. And he'll be discussed as a head coaching candidate. So here's what I want to see as we head into the bye. Like I said, all's good. We won the game. All's good. And hopefully everything's okay. But here's just a couple changes that I want to see so that we can hold and eventually build on our AFC North division lead. Change number 1. I think Mike Tomlin needs to tell Matt Canada, you need to go back to being the Matt Canada you were when you put up 43 points against Clemson, 76 points against Syracuse, and 51 points against Ohio State. Instead of this Matt Canada that is so predictable. Or else your days here are numbered. Second off, I think Omar Khan needs to seriously listen to offers for Najee. You could get a good deal for him with a draft pick. This is where you capitalize, just like you did the Claypool trade. You could get a second or a third for him, and that'd be huge. That's another draft pick we get to boost our capital. Other than that, I think everything is all good. The offense obviously needs to be better, but that's going to take a long case study, and it's going to take a long time to tell what will make the offense better. Personally, I think it's play calling, but some drives I actually thought was Kenny Pickett, to be honest. The fact that he took sacks, the fact when people were open, the fact that he's not able to see a lot of the time, and don't get me wrong, I don't expect Kenny to see everything. However, sometimes it was pretty obvious when he missed. But anyway, that's all for you guys tonight. In that regards, hopefully the Steelers look good a couple weeks, and that's my last part of the video before I conclude the show. Steelers are on a bye next week, so there will be no show, unfortunately, next week, since there's no game. But the Steelers are on bye next week, and then in 2 weeks, they head to Los Angeles, California, City of Angels, to take on the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. The game is Sunday, October 22nd. Kickoff is 4:05 p.m. on Fox. The Rams today lost to the Philadelphia Eagles at home, 23-14. Next week, the Rams continue their free-game homestand as they host the Arizona Cardinals. So we'll know more about them then. I'm sure Tomlin and the crew are watching. This team's obviously led by genius head coach Sean McVay, sparked the new offensive-minded movement head coaches in today's NFL. Matt Stafford's obviously doing big things there. They have Kieran Williams. Puka Nakua's breaking all these records. BYU kid. Cooper Kupp, their star receiver. Eastern Washington. And then, who's the other one? Tutu Atwell. All smaller schools. Louisville, who's not a smaller school because they beat Notre Dame. BYU and Eastern Washington. Tight end Tyler Higbee. Maybe the O-line will be okay. Defense obviously isn't great, but it's still led by Aaron Donald, former alumni of the great University of Pittsburgh. And hopefully the Steelers line can hold the Pitt kid to not a big day. So, yeah, hopefully they could do that for sure. Here we go, Steelers, that's for sure. Enjoy the bye week, everybody. I'll be back with you in 2 weeks for the Steelers game in Los Angeles against the Rams. Enjoy this bye week. See you soon. Have a good night. Take care. Stay safe. Here we go, Steelers. And as always, peace. See you in 2.